Guys, today Tottenham Hotspurs played their last preseason game against Bayern Munich, where they lost that game by 4 goals to 0. It could have actually been 5 goals to 0 if Harry Kane had not missed the penalty in the first half. The game has a lot of talking points, and I'm here to share that with you. We are also going to talk about Mohammed Kudus' performance in that game and things Tottenham Hotspur has to do before their Super Cup game against PSG on the 10th of this month, which is next week, Wednesday. So please make sure to like, subscribe, and also turn on notification. My name is Adam. You're watching SportsCornerGH. Quickly, let's jump into it and talk about the game. Bayern Munich versus Tottenham Hotspur. At the end of the game, it was 4-0. I know this game is like a reality check to Tottenham Hotspur, the team, the new coach, even the fans. It's like a reality check to them because they were living in the honeymoon period during this preseason, winning games here and there, playing draws here and there. So they were like, okay, we are invincible. Thomas Frank is doing something right. But you see, this game gives the coach an opportunity to correct certain things before the Super Cup game. Bayern Munich on paper, the players they have, compare them to Tottenham Hotspur on paper, they don't even match. Bayern Munich has enough quality to even field in a TB and still compete with Tottenham Hotspur. So from beginning of the game to the end of the game, Bayern Munich dominated the game. They even showed how superior they were. And if you look at the quality they have on their squad, that is serious. Harry Kane, Olise, Luis Diaz. The list goes on. Jonathan Tah. Good. Like, they played extremely well. And I was so impressed with the intelligence from Olise. Olise was the most creative player on the pitch for me. Look, I looked at him and I'm like, this guy is so good. He played extremely well. He controlled the game from the time he started the game to the time he was subbed off. And Bayern Munich, they are one team to look at when it comes to ECL next season because they have a pretty good squad. They played an extremely good game today against Tottenham Hotspur. Now, one thing I like about Bayern Munich is that when they changed the personnel, when the key players were subbed off in the second half, their tactics, their system did not change, their plan did not change. The players that came in, the youth players that came in, still went into that game and maintained the level of intensity and we scored 2 extra goals in the game. That should tell you something. The Bayern Munich are doing something right. I loved it from start to finish. But then let's talk about Tottenham Hotspur.
Stanisic. Diaz to the byline, tracked by Kudus, and that's really industrious play from the man signed from West Ham United. There's something Kudus takes great pride in, his work rate off the ball, and showed it there.
Look, today it was so clear Tottenham Hotspur needed a creative player because I felt like the coach did a mistake when it came to his starting lineup. The positioning of the players was just too wrong. In midfield, he played only defensive-minded players. Playing Palhinha is not wrong, but I felt like playing Palhinha, playing Pape Matissa, and playing another DM in that midfield is too defensive. Just too defensive for my liking. And I feel like it did not even allow Tottenham Hotspur that creativity to create chances, to score goals or provide assists. The only time you see Tottenham doing something serious in that game is either due to individual brilliance or through Mohammed Kudus.
Porro. Clipford down the line, it's really clever, and Kudus pulls it out of the air and looks to run at Stanisic. Has tied him up here, Kudus. And hung the ball.
It was so clear. On Mohammed Kudus' side, he was getting most of the ball. And I think Bayern Munich, they did their homework on Mohammed Kudus. Anytime he has the ball, about 3 or 4 players were already on him. So it was very difficult for him to dribble. Now, when the game started, in about like the first 10 minutes, Mohammed Kudus showed what he was all about. So you could see the game plan from Tottenham. Give the ball to Mohammed Kudus, and all of you run forward. Kudus is going to cross the ball. That was the game plan. And I like the fact that Bayern Munich did their homework. They saw it very quickly. And anytime Kudus was on the ball, about 3 or 4 players surrounded Mohammed Kudus. He had nowhere to go. He was being dispossessed. He was losing the ball several times. It is okay. I think today you can't even blame Mohammed Kudus for how the game went. It's okay to struggle. At least you can come back and learn from your mistakes. Today he struggled against Stanisic. He also struggled against Kim. Yeah, Kudus really struggled today. I was looking at the game. I'm like, my boy is struggling. I'm not going to lie to you. But even in all this, he actually performed well in my own opinion, because the whole Tottenham team did not perform well. But if you're looking for one player that really impressed, it was him. And I'm not going to leave out Richarlison. I think Richarlison was pretty good in that game, especially with his pressing. He was pressing really, really, really hard. So there were a few mistakes in the game that I felt like Tottenham Hotspur did, like the coach. First of all, Kudus should have played as a number 10, as a creative player today. Then you move Bernard Johnson from the left wing to the right wing, because it was so clear today. Bernard Johnson is no good at playing left wing. The coach today, this is a clear example. He shouldn't repeat this mistake again. Put Bernard Johnson at that right wing and sign a left winger if you have to. 2, Spence is not a good left back. It is so clear today. Today, he made a mistake that even led to the second goal. I know he was not happy, he was pissed, but it was so clear. It was so clear. He was not too comfortable. So I like the fact that the coach, when he wanted to make the change, he changed the entire left side. He changed the left back and changed the left wing. Brought in Odibet and also brought in Davis. I think they are also noticing the things we are also noticing when watching the game. The another thing I saw in that game was, I think Tottenham needs a number 10. It's pretty simple as that. Tottenham needs a number 10. Look, if you cannot let Mohammed Kudus play that number 10, then you need to go out there and sign a number 10, because PSG are going to be ruthless. PSG is not Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich scored you. PSG is going to score you like 5 or 6 if you go out there and play exactly like this. And don't come out and blame Mohammed Kudus. You have signed Mohammed Kudus, but it is not enough. Signing Mohammed Kudus is not enough. I think Tottenham needs to go out there and add quality to the squad. I'm not going to lie to you. They need a number 10. They need a midfielder. They even need a forward, because Solanke is injured. Madison is injured. You also have Kulusevski, who is very creative, who is also injured. So in your team, the setup itself, you need players. That left back itself, they need a player there. I feel like Tottenham needs to sign certain players after watching this game. And as I said, it is not really bad with the scoreline. It gives them an opportunity to go back to the drawing board and do the right thing. Look, you're going to play against PSG in the Super Cup next week. This game is a reality check, because if they had won against Bayern Munich, it would have seemed everything was okay. But nothing is okay. Today, Kudus was struggling. For me, it felt like I was watching West Ham all over again. I'm not going to lie to you. It was as if I was watching West Ham. Yes, this club. It was as if I was watching West Ham all over again. I'm like, how can these players be playing like this? Like, they are struggling. Nothing is working. The position of the players was so bad. The way they were playing was so bad. And it was so obvious. Like, I was expecting the coach to do certain changes in the games, to be flexible with the system. Bringing Kudus maybe to the number 10 position, sending Brennan Johnson to the right wing, putting Odibet on the left side. Matej still should have played the center forward role. Simple. That should have been the whole thing. It could have at least solved some problems for Tottenham Hotspur. But today, it was just sad. But then one thing I can walk away from, like I can take away from this game, a positive, was that Kudus was good. Kudus is so strong, and Kudus knows how to handle the ball. His crosses were very good in the game. But it's just so sad that, I mean, every single time he was just the only outlet in the game. He was the greatest spark for Tottenham. So there was more pressure on him. But then one thing that excites me as a Ghanaian is seeing a boy from Bayern Munich called Jonah Kusi Asari. Jonah Kusi Asari scoring the 4th goal for Bayern Munich. Look, I was really excited. And after he scored, the whole stadium was livid. Everyone was singing his name. Jonah Kusi Asari. Jonah Kusi Asari. Look, Ghana Football Association, I have to chip this in. We have to talk to this boy. We have to try and convince him. There is a reason why Bayern Munich are still holding out of this boy. there is quality there. There is quality there. And his name, it only shows you that, yeah, he's from the motherland. If we can go in, talk to this boy, having him on our squad, that necessarily does not have to be the Black Stars. It could be our junior national team. I'll really, really be excited. Now, let's move away from that and talk about some other items that has to do with the things Tottenham has to work on before the game against PSG next week. First of all, the coach needs to be flexible with the system. If he's going to go one way like this, PSG is going to read him from afar, very simply. Simple. And play players in their right position. Left wing, do not play Brennan Johnson there. Just play Odibert there. Don't even do that. Don't do that. It was a major flop today. Don't do that. 2, Jess Spence does not know how to play the left back. He's not comfortable there. Send him to his proper position. If he has to compete for that position, let him compete. 3, the coach, if you can't sign a number 10 before next week Wednesday, I'm going to advise you, do not play too many defensive players in your midfield. Because play too many defensive players, you are hurting your team. I'm not going to lie to you, because today he played Bentancur. He also played Pape Matissa and played Palinia, all in midfield. All these 3 players are defensive-minded players. You need creativity in there. That is why if you want to even tweak your team, you bring Kudus to the number 10, because you know he knows how to handle the ball, he can dribble, he can pass, and can also cause distraction to the opposition. So the coach, these are things I have noticed. I don't have a license, but I know a lot of people would agree with the things I'm saying. Let me hear from you down below in the comments. Lastly, I want us to read certain tweets from Tottenham Hotspur fans around this particular game that was played today very, very quickly. But whilst I do that, don't forget to like, subscribe, and also turn on notification, because I'm going to bring you more of this live here. Now, let's move away from that and talk about what Tottenham Hotspur fans are saying in that game. Now this is coming from Himoti. Now, he says that without Kudus, we would be finished. He's clearly the only outlet we have. He is our star player. The dribbling and the strength is ridiculous and so important to us. It's been really poor first half. Now, this is coming from Himoti. Now, let's move on and talk about other things, other Tottenham players are saying. Now, this is coming from Spurs Army. And they say Mohammed Kudus in the opening 20 minutes has been excellent. His defensive work rate is so good. He's got back to help Poru so many times, and he's going forward. He looks very sharp, direct, and try to create. I did not even bring up this point. Mohammed Kudus did something important in the game, and I'm sure when I'm editing the video, I'm going to bring it. The video where he went backtracked Luis Diaz, and I mean, it was just so nice. That defensive ability of Mohammed Kudus is not talked about enough. But then that is what some of the fans are saying. So guys, this is coming from Joan, and this is what he said. He says that things I learned this season: desperately need that number 10, one that can play left wing too. Need a Kudus level left winger. Need an upgrade on Richie, meaning Richarlison. They need a center forward, as I said. Need a fullback or a center back that will cover, Mickey van de Ven, or that would be a left back cover. I have always been saying this. The left back is not that good. Spence shouldn't be playing there. Or you need someone who can be a backup to be on the bench anytime you need the player. Stop playing players when they are not good in that position. Also, he added that we need another central midfielder. We need experience when we are chasing games like today. Very, very true. Very, very, very true. So guys, these are some of the things Tottenham fans are saying on social media. Let me hear from you down below in the comments. How did you see that game? Mohammed Kudus, the whole thing. Let me know down below in the comments. Thanks for joining me. My name is Adam. I'll make sure to see you in the next one. Tariq, we go vibe.